Hi, everyone. I'm Sandy Hawkins, General Manager of Global Business Solutions at TikTok. Thanks for joining our South by Southwest panel today. Over the past year, we've seen the TikTok community become a breeding ground of conversations, memes, and trends that have gone on to influence culture. Some of my personal favorites, they involve a laid-back skateboarder and a bottle of cranberry juice, a creator making a bad TV purchase, and two friends making an epic football play in their backyard. This community is one where anyone can be discovered, and that's part of the TikTok magic. It's also this ease of discoverability that gives brands the unique opportunity to place themselves at the forefront of culture-defining conversations, as long as they're actively engaged and listening to the trending waves of the TikTok community. I'd like to introduce you to our amazing all-female panel who have joined us for today's session to uncover how they're navigating TikTok to make their own stamp on culture, tell their story, and connect with an engaged TikTok community in an entirely real and authentic way. I'll start with you, DVK. If you can share what you're doing at Arby's and talk a little bit about your favorite TikTok creator.
Sure. Hi, I'm Deborah von Kutzleben, otherwise known as DVK, and I run all the advertising and the core menu at Arby's. And I'm just so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Love talking about this topic and TikTok especially. I would say one of my favorite TikTokers right now is Sheena Melwani. I don't know if anyone follows her, but she is a musician, but it's less about her music and it's more about her and her interaction with her off-camera husband, who makes hilarious comments about her life all the time. And I totally get a kick out of it. It's so engaging.
AJ, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm AJ Curry. I am the Senior Manager of Social Content at the NFL. Primarily, I lead our emerging platforms team, so I'm really focused on trying to reach that 12 to 24 age demo. I oversee all of the strategy and execution and relationships with those platform partners. I also lead a lot of our special projects and tentpole activations and things like that. And I have to say that my favorite TikTok creator right now is Just Me Rod. He makes pretty much really relatable videos about being a millennial in the workplace, and they're hilarious.
Thanks, AJ. And last, Melanie, if you want to share what you're doing for Ocean Spray and your favorite TikTok creator.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm Melanie De Viasio, Senior Manager of Digital Precision Marketing at Ocean Spray. I've been with Ocean Spray for about 10 years, always working in our digital space. In my current role, I am responsible for our overarching digital strategies, overseeing our own properties across the web and social media, as well as some of our paid digital media and influencer relationships. I love so many creators on TikTok, but I think one of my favorites at the moment is Nick DiGiovanni. He does a lot of recipes, but has a really unique and creative spin on it. We actually had a really great experience partnering with him on a cranberry recipe back in November around the Thanksgiving timeframe. And ever since, I've just fallen in love with his content and I like watching it on a regular basis.
Thanks, Melanie. So as we lean into the theme of discoverability and being actively engaged in the community, it only makes sense for us to talk about how your teams are finding these culture-defining moments on the platform in the first place. So DVK, I'll start with you, right? We had this incredible Arby's TV moment where the Arby's menu showed up on a TV that one of our creators bought. How did Arby's find out that this went viral on TikTok? And then, just to add to that, what was happening on your Zoom calls?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it comes down to having a dedicated team constantly listening. So that was how we obviously caught this before it even, I think, had become big and realized there's something we need to do with this, right? This is like a gem just given to us, and we need to take advantage of this opportunity. And I think it does require a team hopping on the phone on the Zoom immediately and talking about what our response is going to be. So being just super agile and everyone really believing in what the potential could be with a little bit of time and effort and focused attention. So yeah, everybody's, I think, automatically super excited about what something like that means. And the possibilities are endless in terms of how we leverage a moment like that of a guy who bought a random television, turned it on, and there was a piece of Arby's advertising. And it's like, where we took it from there was just kind of crazy and amazing and really benefited the brand.
And was there somebody on your team, DVK, that you have monitoring TikTok, or how did you first hear about it?
Yes, we have 2 people actually that are constantly monitoring all the platforms, but especially TikTok. And yeah, he flagged it for the broader marketing team and just knew we had to do something. And that built into actually creating an entire menu or a meal based on what this TikToker found and getting it into restaurant within a matter of, probably less than 10 days. In addition to a lot of back and forth with the influencer along the way to continue the conversation.
And that, I mean, I know, Melanie, we can talk about the ocean spray moment as well, but that ability to react in real time and to be able to adjust your whole marketing strategy. Melanie, I'll turn it over to you, which is, how did you go about it? And what was do you have any people that are dedicated to listening to the platforms on your end?
Yeah, I would say it's a quite different experience for us in a couple of ways. One is that, Ocean Spray as a brand was not actually active on TikTok at the time that Nathan's video came out. So we did monitor the platform, but without that brand presence, it was there and it was something that our team was looking at, but it certainly wasn't a huge focus area and we didn't see a whole lot of content. So it was not something that was part of our norm or that we expected at all. So we were definitely taken by surprise and we ramped up our coverage of the platform as quickly as we possibly could.
And it sounds like even with the, you mentioned the creator that you worked with, Nick, over the holidays. So it sounds like you even took advantage of using creators as well in your efforts on the platform.
We did. I mean, the timing of Nathan's video was convenient in that it kind of died down a little bit right in time for Thanksgiving, which is our key holiday. And it gave us a new platform and a new opportunity to leverage TikTok for the Thanksgiving timeframe, which was new and different, but created a really great opportunity for us.
AJ, from an NFL perspective, we've been partnering together for a while. Is there something that you're a person that you have that's dedicated to listening to TikTok and the other social platforms?
So we actually have 3 people dedicated specifically to listening to conversation on TikTok. They're also in charge of programming and really also identifying key influencers for us. But our overall social team is like 25 plus people. But the awesome thing is that no matter what platform we focus on, we all really work together to kind of identify those viral moments. So we really collaborate as a social squad to see, kind of the best sort of, whether it be videos or voices, we kind of all work together to find those and shout them out to each other so that we can make sure to sort of jump in that conversation, whether it be, amplifying their work across our platforms or just jumping into the comment section.
I think that's one of the things, AJ, that NFL has really done well, which is jumping into the comment section. This is something that brands are usually scared to do. So how do you go through that approach, and what is your thought process of what's the right way to comment and to engage your fans?
So when the NFL first came on TikTok, we kind of had to decide how we wanted to be on TikTok. And we knew we wanted to have this authoritative nature of the NFL that you would see elsewhere, but also speak to our audience instead of speaking at them. And one of the best ways to do that is to engage in conversation, such as in the comment section. So that's when we really started sort of replying to our fans when they commented on our videos, or just identifying people making awesome football content as a whole and commenting on their videos. And our clubs are especially good at this. You can find them all over the comment section of various videos, kind of everywhere, just making people's day more special. And I think for us nowadays, commenting on somebody's video is the same as if a player was to toss you their gloves after the game or throw you a football after they score a touchdown. It's this really awesome opportunity to have this one-on-one connection with something you love so much. And in our case, that's football. And so we've just found a way to do that virtually and in a way that we know younger generations can appreciate.
I love that, AJ, that a comment on somebody's TikTok video is the same as somebody getting a pair of gloves at the game. Because I think that that's true, right? Having somebody that you aspire to be or that you love watching all the time is commenting is an absolute amazing opportunity for brands to engage, but also to have that experience. DVK and Melanie, have you chimed into the conversations at all about, with your respective brands?
Melanie, do you want me to
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the rules of thumb we always have is it's not about like how many followers the person has. You know, they could have 100, they could have 100,000. If they're a fan of the brand, or if they're expressing a dislike of the brand, it's an opportunity for us, right? So we love to engage on a one-on-one basis. And it really is just recognizing people and making them feel like they matter and that they feel special. And it's so rewarding to see people's reactions to a brand responding to them. It's like you have made their year. So it's just this self-fulfilling thing, right? So, and we see a lot of times people that aren't familiar with the brand, right, that are slamming us for no reason necessarily. And we also use those opportunities to try to win them over. So it can kind of work both ways, whether you're a fan of the brand or not, but like every single person is special and matters. And as brands, I think if we can treat them that way, it really benefits us.
Yeah, I would agree. We have so many people commenting, on our own content being like, hey, does Ocean Spray respond? And we respond to every single one because it's fun and they're not expecting it. And I don't think they always get that response. And I think it's really important to drive that engagement, to give them that, to say, hey, like we're real people behind this brand. We're here, we're listening to you.
I think it's scary for brands to just figure out how they're going to comment and how they're going to engage with their community. And it's so special, as all of you have said, when brands do respond to people. They love it. It absolutely, DVK makes their day.
Totally. We've actually responded to our employees that are on TikTok and engaged with them, which is a whole nother benefit, right? So yeah, there's that too, which is cool.
So one of the biggest questions that we often get from brands who are still trying to understand TikTok is, how do you activate on TikTok and where should you be starting, right? When you think about it. So I think Melanie, Ocean Spray is a perfect example here. You mentioned when we kicked this off that your brand wasn't even on TikTok when Nathan famously skateboarded into all of our lives with a bottle of cranberry juice. So how did you take advantage of that moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we did, again, see the video when it first came out just through the scanning that we were doing. And we chuckled, but, kind of said this was cute and didn't think much of it. It happened on a Friday, and over the weekend, as we started to see it gain popularity, we took a step back and we took the time to understand the backstory of the video, understand why he was on the skateboard, which was that his car broke down, why he was drinking the juice, and that it actually really is his favorite product and he keeps it in his car at all times. And really like who he was and what his community was like on the platform. And just giving the moment its time to breathe organically and allowing the power of TikTok to really amplify his story on its own was amazing to watch. And we wanted it to feel authentic and our involvement also to be authentic. So, when we found out about his car breaking down and that whole component of it, we kind of let the video continue to grow in popularity. We decided that the moment and our opportunity was to do something good and to create some good out of the situation, not to like amplify it with paid media, but like, what do we do for him to make his life better? And so we delivered him a cranberry red truck full of Ocean Spray in a pretty scrappy way. Obviously with COVID, we could only do so much, but we got a crew out there, we got that. And, we just continued to do good by him and to grow our partnership with him. And since then, we've continued to grow that partnership. And we actually just recently participated in a campaign with him around the Super Bowl timing, which if you haven't seen, you should check out. So it's been a really very authentically grown relationship with Nathan, and it helped Ocean Spray to kind of establish our brand and stay true to who we are as an authentic, farmer-owned cooperative in the process.
Melanie, I think one of the great things that you said when you were talking about being authentic to the brand and making sure that you're reacting to it in a way that was true to what Ocean Spray is about. And that's one of the things that we always say when we're talking to brands about starting on TikTok, right? It's about finding your personality and your ethos and not trying to be something that you're not. And if you are, then the community doesn't respond because they see it as being inauthentic. DVK or AJ, maybe we'll start with you on this one, AJ. How have you worked to find the NFL voice and to make sure that you're staying true to the passion of the brand and the legacy that the NFL has?
Yeah, so kind of like I mentioned earlier, for us, it was important to keep that authoritative nature of the NFL while still being able to be, sort of a little bit more youthful and fun, to sort of match what we're going to see on the For You page. And so for us, it was really about being conversational without being cliche. We never want to incite any, hello, fellow kids memes. We don't want to be part of conversations that it wouldn't make sense for us to be a part of. So for us, authenticity was truly key. We try and be as authentic as possible. And for us, that allows us to really dictate how we're speaking and also which sort of conversations we're jumping into and also which type of people we're engaging with. We want to make sure we're engaging with the type of people we'd be proud to call our fans.
DVK, any learnings from Arby's on how you found your voice on TikTok?
Yeah, I think it was through trial and error. I mean, we have a pretty distinctive voice already kind of before coming into TikTok, but I do think you have to listen and you have to adapt to some degree without becoming something that you're not. I do think it comes down to, look, having a very good understanding of kind of who you are as a brand. We celebrate meats and we're never going to not do that, right? But we're also a very self-deprecating brand, and we kind of can embrace that. And that's something that we wanted to continue to bring through. And I think people find very authentic and refreshing, but it was already who we were. So yeah, I think it also being just very personal and almost thinking of the brand as a person and how a person would talk, I think is really important as well.
That's what we say. We say we like the NFL to just be your best friend on TikTok who really loves football.
Yeah.
And I think, AJ, that's a great segue, is I think what a lot of people don't realize is that nostalgia is huge on the platform, right? And NFL really knows how to capture that nostalgic element. And that can be attributed a lot to older generations that are starting to show up and create their own communities. So as I've said, NFL and football has a lot of that nostalgic element. Everybody remembers when their favorite team won the Super Bowl. So how does your team activate against TikTok on the strategy?
100% true. Like, nostalgia is definitely key for us. It's actually been really fun, I think, for us to bring back old highlights because older generations feel that nostalgic connection to them. And then younger generations are seeing them for the first time in a lot of cases and thinking that they're just really awesome because they've never seen them. So that's been really fun. But I think probably the most recent example for us was our work with the Football Bros. And if you haven't seen their video, although I would hope that you have, it has, I think, around 67 million views on TikTok now. But it's just two kids playing football in the backyard. It's a slow-mo catch, and it's to the song, Just the Two of Us. And when we saw that video, we jumped right into the comment section. So did a lot of our clubs. And then it really started to blow up. And it was very clear by the comment section as it kept growing that nostalgia was really the driving factor for its success. People loved just seeing two kids getting outside, just having a perfect day, playing catch with their pals. And people were like, wow, I miss doing that. I miss doing that when I was a kid. And so we knew right away that it was something we needed to capitalize more on. And then it started becoming a trend, which, as the NFL brand, the perfect thing is for when exactly what you are becomes a trend. So that was really awesome to see. And there was such a strong response that we knew we wanted to amplify it further. So we knew that this nostalgia was really the kind of thing that reminded you why you love football in the first place. So we activated within a week. We got on the phone with the Football Bros. We put together a national TV spot that was able to air, and it got really awesome, overwhelming, positive responses. So that was something where we knew we could find this nostalgia and kind of spread it further with our voice.
And Melanie, I know that Ocean Spray is a company that's been around for forever, and maybe not a lot of people understand the nostalgia and the legacy of the brand at Ocean Spray. How have you been tying into that on TikTok?
Yeah, I think, obviously when Nathan's video came out, just the song, The Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, which was not a song that had been popular in 2020, became popular again. And I think the sense of nostalgia that brought to people, especially during the time when the video came out, when it was really, people were starting to feel COVID fatigue and really looking for something to make them feel good. Just the feel good sensation of Nathan riding the skateboard with that song that people people when, brought them back was really nice. And it ties into who we are as a brand. Just, we are a 90-year-old cooperative. We evoke a sense of nostalgia. A lot of people remember, their parents and their grandparents having Ocean Spray cranberry juice or cranberry sauce as a pantry staple. So I think the combination of factors of, the song being nostalgic and our brand kind of having that nostalgia for a lot of people helps to make that connection again with Nathan even more authentic.
I think that it's so true. And one of the things that I keep hearing with Melanie, what you've said, AJ, and DVK, is that a lot of these moments, they have elements of nostalgia, but the biggest thing is that you have to be able to respond to them in a timely manner, because they can happen at a moment's notice. And being able to maintain the realness of those moments is really what drives the community to be involved. And that really takes brands being able to and willing to take risks to jump on these trends. So DVK, over to you. How has Arby's managed to remain open and nimble and taking advantage of these opportunities?
Yeah, I think culturally as a marketing organization, we're all bought into the value. So that automatically then creates a culture for people to be, not annoyed when they're getting texted on Saturday night about something that might be happening on TikTok that we can take advantage of. Like, in fact, it's the opposite. Like, everybody kind of knows the value of jumping on these things. So I would say just like engendering everyone to like really understand what's possible so that we can, roll up our sleeves and do what's necessary at a moment's notice. I think having the dedicated resources for sure is required. And we really believe that there's payout hands down. There's never a question of the ROI of sort of having the dedicated listening to the platform. So I think it really comes down to like a culture that embraces what the potential is for the brand and really puts in the time and effort to listen and react.
And is there anything in particular, DVK, keeping Arby's in mind, or other brands that are listening now, right? When they see their moment arise on TikTok, any words of wisdom of how they should approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just never know where something's going to go. So I think you always have to look at it through, through that positive lens of how can we take advantage of a moment. I also think that you should never really count yourself out of a conversation. So when you see something, it may not directly tie to your business or your brand, but if you can find a link that's credible and can be organic, take advantage of it. And then also just test and learn. Like, you're not going to hit a home run every time, and that's okay. But don't let sort of that fear of not hitting a home run not get you up to bat and at least getting some singles, doubles, or triples.
And I love that, DVK, right? Don't be afraid to be a part of the conversation. And AJ, I think that's something that the NFL has done really well, which is being a part of the conversation. And you had mentioned earlier that you have a team of 25 people. Are there any ways that you look at the content that's being created to say that's something that we're going to get involved in versus something that we may pass on?
I don't know if there's anything in particular, but it is, kind of exactly what DVK said, like finding something that really feels like your brand, like can jump into that conversation authentically. I think that is key for us. And, it might not be a direct connection. It might be, I might see a cat making an awesome leap over a dog, but, there's leaps in football. And so that's a conversation we can get involved in and, tell them we want to draft that cat. And so there's things like that really you can just find, these little connections. And then every single time that you jump in that conversation, it's a surprise and delight for a new person. And it might be somebody who, necessarily is maybe more of a casual football fan, but they just posted that content. And now, they're more interested in football because they've seen this connection. We've engaged with them. And so every single time we interact, we just look for those opportunities to continue to grow a connection with our brand in a meaningful way.
And I love that, AJ, the surprise and delight, right? You can find a connection to anything. And I'll tie that back to what Melanie said earlier, which is it needs to resonate and be true to your brand and be in your voice and be authentic. I have loved our conversation and, especially speaking with such incredible female leaders like all of you. What I'd love to do is just wrap it up with one final question for each of you. So I'll start first with you, DVK. When you have other brands that find themselves in I'll say the opportunistic Arby's missing menu moment, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Gosh, no, I don't think so. I mean, if anything, we questioned whether or not we should take it as far as creating a missing menu meal in our restaurants. I mean, because that takes a lot of energy. And if, we've got to get the operational team involved, we have to code it into the registers. Like it's got kind of a heavy lift. And I think that, there was that moment of like, do we think this is worth it? Right. And we went ahead and did it. And I'm so glad we did. We didn't sell millions of missing menu meals. However, I think the audience on TikTok completely appreciated the lengths that we took to sort of take something that this influencer had done and bring actually a benefit back out to the TikTok viewers. So there's not really a lot I would have done differently. I would just say like, go all in, like both feet, because you just never know where it's gonna take you.
I love that. AJ, for the NFL being one of the oldest and most mature brands right now on the platform, what would your advice be for new or established brands wanting to get started on TikTok and they just don't know where to start?
So my biggest advice would be, and I cannot emphasize this enough, don't just post on TikTok, make TikToks. That is something that is really, really important. It's been key to our strategy sort of our entire time on the platform. For us, TikTok has allowed us to present football in a format that you can't find anywhere else, which is just now one more opportunity to reach a fan and strengthen their fandom and connection to the brand. So if I'm seeing a video formatted the exact same way that you've posted on other platforms and I didn't like it then, what's to say I'm gonna like it now just because it's on TikTok? So for us, I think the best way to stand out as a brand on TikTok is to fit in to the TikTok community and use it as an opportunity to make a different type of content that can just strengthen your relationship with more and more of your fans.
I think, AJ, I couldn't have said it better myself, right? Our tagline that we always go out to brands with is don't make ads, make TikToks. And it really is because of that. We wanted to stand out. We wanted to have that impact. And final question, Melanie, for you. Ocean Spray, I mean, the defining moment of 2020 in pop culture, I would say. How do you coach another brand through their own meme defining moment?
Yeah, I think it's so much just about being open and nimble and willing to take the plunge into something that you're probably not ready for. So, again, when it happened for us, it was like, what do we do? Do we act quickly? Do we wait? And it was a balance, a delicate balance of whether we move quickly or whether we let it play out. And it's, you have to act at the right time. And then it's, okay, now we have this community who's looking for us on TikTok, but we're not there. Do we do it? Do we just create the platform? We have zero strategy. What content do we put out there? So I think it's more of just, being open and realizing that you can play it by ear. You can test and learn as you go. Your community is not going to abandon you if you do one thing that feels a little bit off. Just stay authentic to yourself, stay authentic to your brand, and test and learn and go with what works for you. But I think the most important, piece of advice I would give is just be willing to take the risk, because if you're not, you're not going to get the benefit out of it, and you're not going to be able to move forward as a brand into, a new audience, a new generation, a new culture.
I thank you for that, Melanie. And again, I think it's so important. I love what all of you have been saying about TikTok and really leaning into the community, which is don't be afraid to be a part of the conversation, right? If your brand is being spoken about, you can be there too, and you can have fun with it and join in the comments. Our community loves reaching and hearing back from our brands that are on the platform, and they look at it as being reached out to by a celebrity. And so, enjoy that and have that be a part of what your communication strategy is. I love all of these positive stories and the engagement that you all continue to build on TikTok. So I thank you, DVK, Melanie, and AJ, for joining us today. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. And hopefully we will see you all on TikTok.